I suffered with an eating disorder that was so based on running. It was all to do with not feeling, good enough, and it was always to do with the running. It wasn't to do with kind of my self-image, and suffering from that at such a young age, kind of, year 6 in primary school, which is really, really young, and kind of being plagued by that for the next 5 or 6 years. But I think because I was so young, and it taught me so much about myself as a person, and kind of, when you are at complete rock bottom, to be able to, not to be able to bring yourself back up, without really, the support of family and friends, but it's ultimately like you who's going to do that. And I think that honestly, it's been one of the, the biggest factors that's got me to where I am now, especially in something like the marathon, when you can do all the training you want, but it's so much about mindset. And that's, another one of the reasons why I'm so, the marathon at Manchester, it means so much, because, if I could go back and tell, 12-year-old me when she's, sat in hospital, not even allowed to walk or leave the seat, never mind be able to run, like it means so much. And like, I think if I can just tell anyone that, like, getting yourself back into a healthy mindset is so worth it. And just because something's gone wrong in your life, or you've had a few bad years, it doesn't mean that life is over at all. Like, there's so much ahead of you. And that's
I was about to say, without all getting too emotional here, when you mentioned rock bottom, was that time in hospital then, when you were kind of, in year 6 as a 12-year-old? Are you able to kind of elaborate a tad more on that? Or
So it was when I was 12. So I think that was maybe year 8 at school. Yeah, it must have been year 8 at school. And I ended up in an inpatient unit for 3 months. And it was an NHS inpatient unit. It wasn't specifically for eating disorders. And, looking back, I have so much to say on it, because the treatment was quite honestly appalling. Like, the way I was treated, and the lack of care, and the lack of the thought that this is, something to do with your mental health and not just your physical health. And that's why I struggled so much for so many years afterwards as well. I managed to get myself out of hospital, but nothing had changed in my mind. And I think, knowing and being in that place, and it was awful. Like, it was it really was awful. And kind of having absolutely everything taken away from you, not being able to have any contact with friends or family, having no control over what you do at all during the day. Then to kind of be in a place now where I can do what I want, and if I want to go for a walk outside, I'll go for a walk outside. If I want to eat whatever, then I'll eat whatever. And being able to do that, I think when you've have everything taken away from you, then you appreciate the things that you do have when you get them back so much more. So yeah.
It must be, as I said, crazy, mental, whatever, now to actually look back at that period and to reflect on where you are now as an athlete, but also the fact that you have qualified for a major championships and you are going to be wearing a British vest at that major championships, and think to yourself, my God, the journey that I've been on has been a bit of a whirlwind. And your family and your friends, when they saw you cross the line in Manchester, must have been incredibly proud of that moment.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, and the amount of messages that I had from people, that I'm not really in contact with anymore, but from back at home, that saw me, really struggling when I was so young, and, saw me kind of disappear from school for a few months and then come back looking like a different person, them kind of messaging me and saying, like, like, well done. I think that means the most, because they saw me struggling so much, and now probably kind of think, actually, like, she's done quite well. And I'm just so glad that I didn't give up, because I could have given up so easily. I could have just said, you're right, it's not worth it, I'm not going to do it anymore. But I'm really glad that I stuck at it and kind of said, no, I am going to do this. And I am going to carry on doing what I love.